All right, so welcome everyone to this month's guest speaker session. Today we're joined by the lovely Brenda Pierce. So welcome, Brenda. So happy to have you here.
Hi, it's wonderful to be here with all of you.
Yeah, so we've got lots to chat about. I do want to just read your bio and do a quick introduction. So Brenda, some of you might know her if you're around Tilsonburg. You may have seen her face before in different areas that she works in. But she believes in integrative therapy and approaches to health and wellness. So that's why she's such a great fit for our membership speaker this month. She was an RN for nearly 40 years. She has touched thousands of lives during her career, just recently retired. Along the way, she became a Reiki master, teacher, and has taught to many healthcare practitioners. She is also the best-selling contributing author to several books and magazines. She is a TV show producer host of Oxford Empowered on Rogers TV, so you may have seen her on there if you have Rogers. And she is also the podcast host of Empowered Living on the Dreams Vision 7 Media Network. She believes that all health is cell health and that PEMF therapy should be in every home to counter the effects of our Wi-Fried world we live in. So true. You can also learn more about Brenda at brendapierce.com, which I will link and was posted earlier as well. So thank you again, Brenda, for joining us here. And you've got such a, I was saying, beautiful, relaxing background. I feel like it looks like you're in the tropics somewhere.
It feels like it out there today because, Amy, thank you for having me. And it's really wonderful to be here with all your membership and sharing whatever comes of the conversation. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, we didn't, I knew with you, it's like we could totally keep it organic and we didn't have to talk too much about it because you've been, I mean, you're just such a wealth of knowledge and you've been in this kind of integrative wellness field for a very long time. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your background. Like you were an RN for 40 years, but what eventually led you into integrative wellness and becoming, a Reiki master and learning about PEMF? I'd love to just hear a little bit about your journey.
Awesome, thank you. So I worked for 22 years in our local hospital, and then I branched out to working with the Ministry of Health and implementing a major project. It was quite an undertaking, and then I went into teaching. I taught a lot of area people on healthcare related courses at Fanshawe College. So that was really a big piece for me too. That really taught me a lot about teaching because
Yeah.
being a frontline nurse, there's so many things you can do in nursing. It's incredible where it can all lead you. And then I went into long-term care for several years. I've worked in probably for a year or two, probably in every nursing home, long-term care facility in the area. And my last place was at Chartwell and Elmer, right across from the Saxonia Hall. So um, worked with a lot of great people and also some of the biggest challenges in healthcare as well. So I've seen all sides of the spectrum in terms of good healthcare and everything in between.
Mhm.
And and so I'm privileged because I was the most unlikely person, Amy, to be a nurse in the first place. I was the passed out queen in college and training, and
What did you say for
um,
what, Queen?
the passed out queen.
Oh,
I passed out at every procedure, but yet when I was in the OR and they were doing major surgery, I was actually holding the bowel bag while three surgeons were doing an aortic bifurcation grafting of an aneurysm, and I was holding the bowels of somebody's body in my hands for 3 hours. It
wow.
was an incredible experience, and I did not pass out for that, but epidurals and all kinds of other procedures which were kind of gruesome and invasive, that was what I didn't have a stomach for.
Yeah.
But the wonderful thing about nursing is there's always a niche for you somewhere in the profession. So
Mhm.
it was good. But it's amazing though. When I was working at Tilsonburg Hospital, and I'd have to say this is now going back about 17 years ago, it was my first blush with integrative health and wellness. And we had a palliative care lady who was a Reiki master. And they were starting to put down these cards around saying, if you have want a stress break, that's what they said. If you want a stress break, sign up at nursing office for your 20-minute session. Well, stress. Well, yeah, every nurse is stressed, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so I did sign up. I thought that that would be quite interesting, but I was curious because it didn't say anything about Reiki or what Reiki is or
Mhm.
anything to prejudice the mind against these healing arts. Because at that point, unless it came from a prescription pad, a doctor's mouth, or a procedure that was planned, it just wasn't medicine.
Mhm.
And I really did not know anything about Reiki. But I had a 3-minute Reiki session, and I think I levitated for the next 2 days after. I was just so high and relaxed after 3 minutes
Wow.
that it changed my life forever.
Mhm.
And it opened me up to the idea that there's more to this health and wellness thing than meets the eye. And
Mhm.
I'm glad I followed my intuition and instincts. So I trained with that particular lady who we called the freaky voodoo lady because we didn't know what she was doing. But I blessed her now because if it wasn't for Reiki, I wouldn't be balanced. I wouldn't be as open-minded, I would say, to what wellness is and health and well-being and that sort of thing if I didn't take that 3-minute session.
Mm.
And from there, I went on, I would host, in order to get my master's, I would host training sessions in my own home, invite people for this Reiki master to train these people in my home, and I would get credit. And so after, I think about 5 years of doing that, I finally earned enough credits to get my master's.
Mhm.
And with that, that just really expanded my realization of impact of energy flowing through me and through my heart and to my hands and out to everybody I touch,
Mhm.
because you can't turn Reiki off. And you know that yourself. You're now Reiki trained as well, so that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing what Reiki can do.
Totally. And I love like how you said just 3 minutes and like that 3 minute experience really changed. It was something that impacted your life and kind of brought in this whole new avenue for you to pursue. So we have there's actually someone in the group who does Reiki in our membership, and it's funny that you say that because I just chatted with someone else who does Reiki, so it feels like that's been a lot of my talking lately. I've been talking a lot about it. But for someone who maybe hasn't heard about it, could you chat a little bit more about what that is? Um, what like maybe a session would look like, or anything else you want to share about that?
Sure, I'd love to. So, as a Reiki practitioner, I actually went back to the hospital and did Reiki practice, Reiki sessions on staff, just like I had received years before as a volunteer. It was really interesting. So, what Reiki is the Japanese art of universal life force energy, and that Rei is energy. A Ki is like chi, like you hear chi a lot, but the Rei is like the ray of life or universal life force energy.
Mhm.
And basically, once you are, here's a simple way, I'll just digress a bit. There is energy all around us. And if all you have to do is do this with your hands and start to feel the energy between your hands, it starts to feel like elastic, then it feels something kind of pushing against you. It's the electromagnetic fields of the energy that is all around us. It's in us, it's in every life living thing.
Mhm.
And so there is this life force. And when you agree to being attuned to it, so it's like almost like a tuning fork experience, you get attuned to the energy around you. When you start to allow yourself to have that energy flow through you, it changes your life. You feel it. You feel what life is actually feels like. And
Mhm.
when you put your hands on someone else, you attune yourself to their energy, and so the energy that's coming through you helps to balance them, almost like jumper cables on a dead car battery.
Mhm.
We're all dry cell batteries.
Yeah.
So when you put that energy on, you're charging them up to the Schumann resonance, basically. And that is our healthy frequency of our body, which helps us to regenerate in a healthy manner.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do this, it gets your cells in sync with each other, and it helps the energy of life to flow through the person you're touching or animal you're touching, because it works beautifully with animals.
Mm-hmm.
And you get them to start to feel better. So less anxiety, less stress. Um, there's been thoughts that if you do Reiki, and I can tell you this, my daughter broke her thumb when she was in grade 5. She went like this and really banged it hard.
Yeah.
And it was a green stick fracture. And so she was attuned to Reiki as well. So we started doing Reiki on it. The
Mm-hmm.
doctor had said that the fracture would never heal properly. And we did it. And in 2 weeks, when she went back for her first x-ray, he was amazed because the fracture had healed and it never even looked like it was broken.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what we have the capabilities of tapping into, is this life force energy, which is healing and and soothing and relaxing and beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody who hasn't had a Reiki session really should try it and experience for themselves what this feels like, because it's incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it truly is. And I just remember, my first Reiki session, and then early in my healing journey, I was living out east, and there was a Reiki course at my yoga studio, and it was like the couple that owned it. They had this like beautiful yoga center like out in the woods. It was like out in the country in a log
Mm.
cabin, and that's where I did the level 1. And it was just felt like coming home, that you can tune into that energy and that power essentially within you. And like you said, we all have it, it's there, but we can become out of balance or stagnant in certain parts of our body and our emotions. And so we want that energy to be flowing, and Reiki is a
Yeah.
great way to access that, but to also go to someone who's really attuned and can feel it and help you access and learn about that. So I'm so glad you brought that up.
Thank you. Well, one thing it's really interesting, it's once you're trained to Reiki, you don't ever lose it. But
Mhm.
we do have reattunements that happen. It's almost like we need a spark plug or change or a boost or something. But as you progress through the Reiki, the flow of energy, it's like almost like level 1 is like the energy flows through like this kind of a cord. But when
Mhm.
you get to level 3 and master and master teacher of the masters, that cord gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and finally that flow of energy has no resistance. And
Mhm.
I remember how it felt when I first got started. It was like this pulsating energy that just like I couldn't control my hands; they would vibrate like this. And now it's just a very slow rhythm of energy. It's very gentle, and
Yeah.
it's amazing how you can expand with this work that we do.
Yeah, and how we can, use that on others too. Like we went, Brandon, have you heard of Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
we went to one of his, it was like a week-long workshop, and long story short, because it's, it was quite the experience, but we were doing these coherent circles. So where we would first feel that energy, like you said, just feel it pulsing, and then my hands would start shaking, and then there would be someone in the middle of our circle who had something that they were dealing with that they wanted support around, and we would send them that energy. And on the last day, I got to be in the circle,
Oh,
and
wow.
I was actually like, so they weren't touching me, but from their hands sending that energy to me, I was like, my body was like shaking with energy. And that's how he explains it, is, you're kind of unraveling any discoherence, and your body is coming back into coherence. And that's where,
Mm.
true healing can happen. So it might sound like, is that even possible? But yeah, from just the experiences I've had, it's been really amazing when you have those treatments. And then it
Yeah.
just changes your view, because it's like, if that is possible and you feel that, it's a reminder to, always come back to checking in with yourself and your energy. And when I'm starting to feel off, like, I know that it's time to come back to doing some of these things.
Absolutely. And, like crystal bowl healing. If you have a circle and you sit in a circle of crystal bowls and they're all vibrating, that resonance again too is a natural resonance, and that frequency of sound
Mhm.
baths they call them, are actually amazing too. It's another way of getting frequency healing.
Mhm.
It's just out of this world when you sit in the center of those as well. So
That's something
it's incredible.
I've never been to, like a sound bath. So,
Yeah, yeah, I should check it out. And
yeah.
one of the things I want to share for your audience, if they want to try Reiki for themselves, we all have the ability to do it for ourselves. Even if you are not, say, a Reiki teacher or master or practitioner, you
Mhm.
can do it yourself. And all you have to do is and we'll do this, take 3 deep breaths, slow and deep, and we can do this exercise right now.
Yeah.
And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. Now you should feel very relaxed at this moment. Now put your hands, one on your heart and one resting against your belly. And then say Reiki, Reiki, Reiki 3 times. And then just relax for a minute and see what you feel. And,
Reiki,
it,
Reiki, Reiki.
and it's almost like a form of meditation. It gets you into that state very quickly, feeling very relaxed. And you might feel this is great, especially for anybody who has difficulty getting to sleep at night. When you go to bed, just do this, and it should drop you right into a altered state of relaxation and peace. Yeah, Amy's vibrating with it, right? That's
You're gonna have to
gorgeous.
bring me out of it. I could have just stayed
Okay.
there.
Okay, I'm gonna snap my fingers and come on out.
Yeah. I actually started to feel like that just nice little sway side to side.
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And if you do Reiki, and I had the privilege of doing this on a pregnant lady as well. So Amy, it would be interesting to see what you feel when you do this on your own little one,
Mhm.
because whenever I did, the baby would almost vibrate, like move in unison with the energy flowing in your hands, and
Yeah.
it was the incredible experience for the mother to have this happen and
Yeah.
just feel the baby relaxing underneath it all.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so relaxing and so something that I think everyone should, yeah, look into. And the Reiki 1 level, at least when I did it, was all about self Reiki. So really learning how to do that on yourself before you do it to anybody else.
That's right. And most times you're very trepidatious about the fact that if you put your hands over your eyes, what are you feeling? The heat coming off your hands, the energy starting to flow on your eyes and things like that. We
Mhm.
are incredulous that we don't think we can do this, and yet everybody can. And
Yes.
that's so reassuring, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's the key thing here, right? Is it's not just Brenda or, certain people, is everyone has this ability. We just, and I'm sure like what you've seen in your work that you've done, right? We get so busy and go, go, go that we kind of it's kind of like we're turning the channel off and we don't realize that we have to come back. We have to slow down and keep coming back inwards to what's actually going on inside.
I think, Amy, I think after, being a nurse for all these years, I've seen so many people give their power away, their personal power. We all are
Hmm.
powerful, but give your power away to somebody else, to pills and procedures and diagnoses and labels and such. And we have so much we can do for ourselves. So as a nurse, I've been able to see the application of Reiki and reducing pain and reducing anxiety on those that I've taken care of. Because
Hmm.
if you see somebody having a major meltdown, you know that pill, you got to leave them, run to get a pill, come back, and you have to wait for them to pop it, hoping that you get the desired effect of it. Whereas I just put my hand on them and just intend the Reiki to flow, and see some amazing changes in people's reaction, more peace, more relaxed, less pain. I know that there are a number of healthcare professionals who are actually doing Reiki operations, like in
Mhm.
pre-surgical, post-surgical. The pre actually reduces the anxiety that the person's having while they're waiting for the procedure. The post actually helps to get rid of the anesthetic out of their system a lot faster. And actually has been, I know there was a study up in London, and it was actually sponsored by a medical doctor, and they were doing Reiki, or they were doing therapeutic touch. I think it was therapeutic touch, which is another one of these healing modalities, all different names, but basically comes down to energy.
Mhm.
And they were doing post mastectomy sessions with the control group that were just pretending to do energy work and energy practitioners. And they were saying how the healing time post mastectomy was greatly enhanced by those doing the energy work. So
Wow.
it has so many applications. We have no idea what this stuff can do for us in the healthcare world.
Yeah, and like, so what would you say in the last few years is it becoming more and more like common that they'd be adding this into procedures and treating patients in this way?
I think there's a bit of a block here in Ontario where we have our Medicare, our healthcare system the way it is. There are biases too. A lot of people will have a bias about this work, thinking it has religious connotations, and it
Yeah,
doesn't. It transcends it all.
yeah.
Um, and I do know that I was being approached by a number of people in the U.S. who wanted people were looking for experts in Reiki and in terms of that medical connection to help set up Reiki programs. I never got to go to any of them because my schedule was just so tight at the time. But I
Mhm.
do know Princess Margaret Hospital actually had 2 trained Reiki masters on staff. I don't know if they're still there, but they were there for a period of time, helping post procedures. And
Mhm.
we know Princess Margaret is known for its breast, its cancer care, and that sort of thing. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think we need more of it. We were going to develop a program here in Tilsonburg, and at the hospital actually, and I was part of talks for that as well. It fizzled out. There comes differing. If you keep it simple, I think that's the thing. The beauty of it is the simplicity. But we get complicating things with procedures and policies and all
Mhm.
kinds of things that can, snuff the charm right out of it.
Yeah. Well, exciting that it's happening at least in some places, and hopefully, in a few years or down the road, we'll see it become. I mean, that's even like all these modalities, but yoga used to be very woo woo, and now, doctors are recommending it and sending people to yoga. And again, there can be a religious connotation to it, but it's it's open to all, right?
Yes,
It's just non-denominational, and we're just coming in inwards into our body and learning how to be with the moment and be with ourselves, and also move that energy. So yoga actually works with those energy centers, whether or not you realize it, but as you go through those poses, you're kind of like massaging those energy centers and getting the energy moving. So it's just amazing, at least, to see that more and more people, like, I every year have people come for the first time, and for me it always surprises me because it's like I just can't believe that people still haven't practiced yoga, but we're all at different points in our journey, so it's just nice that people are open and trying it and getting referred to by medical professionals is nice to see.
absolutely, because it's all about cell resonance and stretching and honoring our bodies for what they are, these
Mhm.
amazing vessels that are more than just the meat suit that we see on the external. It's when you think about the function of cells and the nerves and the perfection of the creation of
Mhm.
humanity. and what we can do to enhance ourselves and to live better, make the rest of our life the best of our life. So it's never too late to learn any of these things, whether it be Reiki or yoga. There's
Yeah.
always a space or a place and a time to be able to do this and really get to understand you,
Mm-hmm.
really.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is a real self-study of coming, into knowing yourself, and you're connecting to that inner wisdom that we all have as well. And yoga just kind of, for me anyways, brings me into the moment. So I'm, with the moment, with myself, and I can see things more clearly as opposed to ruminating in the past or thinking, fearing about the future. So, kind of in connection to all of this, cell resonance and, taking care of our vessel, something else that you're passionate about is PEMF therapy. So, I'd like to chat about that a little bit because, again, that might be something that is new and not as widespread for people. So, tell me all about that. Let's break
Oh,
it down a
wow.
little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to, because this is a technology. It's called pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. So this is a system. It has, you lay on this mat or you use one of the devices. They have coils of copper inside of them. And what happens is Tesla frequencies go through them, and using earth-based resonance. So again, everything is frequency, believe it or not.
Hmm.
Um, why this technology is available now? It was actually developed way back when the first man actually broke the atmosphere into space. He was a Russian cosmonaut, and he was up there for a day, I think, hovering around the Earth, just in the outer atmosphere, the early outer space. And when he came back to Earth, he was in so much pain.
Mm.
He was having blood clots. He had heart attack. He had arthritis. He had brain fog. He just couldn't function. And that poor cosmonaut who sacrificed his life to do something for the glory of humanity by doing this actually ended up killing himself and becoming an alcoholic, and just having a horrible life after.
Hmm.
Because what happens is, in the atmosphere, and down to the earth, is something called the Schumann resonance. So the earth puts out a frequency, and it's the frequency of life. And that's why when you break the atmosphere, you're breaking your contact with the frequency of the earth, and it does things to us. It really
Hmm.
does hurt and harm us in such a way that it can cause this kind of uh, um, situation where this poor man just ended up dying a horrible death.
Right.
So what's happened now is, this technology was developed by NASA, like I said, using Tesla technology to replicate the Earth's atmosphere or resonance in outer space. And
Mm.
so whenever astronauts go up in space for any reason, including, the months that they stay on the space stations and Skylabs and whatever else that is up there, um, they have to have that, or else they would just be sicker than sick and probably die by the time they get back for the amount of time that they're up there.
Right.
So why it's important now for us as humans here on Earth, if we're in the Schumann resonance, but we're not. So since humanity started wearing rubberized-soled shoes, we are grounded against the frequency of the Earth. We spend a lot of time indoors,
Hmm.
and we walk on man-made carpeting and synthetics and wood and concrete and tar and all this sort of thing, and it all breaks our resonance with the earth. And what's happening also is, not only are we having those breaks, but in the air around us, like I said, when we're tuning for Reiki and all this sort of thing, there's a frequency.
Hmm.
So is there the Wi-Fi frequencies that are around us from our cell phones, our wireless gadgets, the technology that we just can't seem to live with anymore. And it is having an effect on us. So some of the things that it's doing is if you spend a lot of time screen time, your eyes burn, you get
Yeah.
tired, your skin can get red, you don't sleep as well, there's sexual dysfunction that happens. People are achy and think that breakdown is a normal element for aging, and it isn't. And if we were more connected to the earth frequency, we actually have our cells calmer and able to synthesize the nutrients and the waste and the oxygen that our cells need in order to
Mhm.
survive. But what happens with all these wide frequencies, which are way above our human natural frequencies, it starts to pull apart the mitochondria of our cells. It starts to cause polarity of our blood, causing clumping. And
Mhm.
we've heard a lot lately about people who have had inflammatory heart disease and people dropping dead suddenly, and
Mhm.
that they're having this clotting happening. Part of it can be from side effects of certain things that we are now being exposed to, but also the polarity caused by the errant frequencies causing our blood to naturally congeal together, and it's called rouleau formation. So what that does is, if the blood is too thick to get through the glycocalyx of the smallest vessels of our body, where they have to squeeze through singularly to bring nutrients and waste and exchange all that stuff, then what happens is we have cell death, we have inflammation because the tissues are starved, and we start to see the inflammatory conditions that we're seeing a lot of these days, um, um, like fibromyalgia, polymyalgia, arthritises, these heart diseases that are happening to people who are otherwise healthy.
Mhm.
What else is there? Something called mitochondria dysfunction is a new disorder, and that's, again, mitochondria at the cell level
Yeah.
becoming unable to create the energy sources for the cells because they're not getting the nutrients. Um, we hear so these are issues that are common, are modern day issues, and unless we have something to counteract us, because many people go to the doctor and get pills and prescriptions, and that might treat the symptoms, but we have to get down to the cell level, because all health is cell health.
Mhm.
And if we can have one of these systems where you lay on it 8 minutes twice a day, and it brings your body down into the healthy resonance, improves the circulation, um, you have less pain, you have better healing ability, better autoimmune responses, better, your collagen, your skin starts to replicate itself in a healthy manner. So the collagen increases in your body, your organs regenerate in a healthy manner instead of a decrepit manner with
Mhm.
degeneration. So that's what PEMF therapy is, and like I say, everybody needs this. We really do. We can't get away from what's in the air and the frequencies around us, but we can control how our body is able to deal with it in a much more healthy manner. So that's
Yeah.
it basically.
Oh, wow, that was so informative. I feel like I was at a PEMF like seminar learning all the ins and outs about it. And I didn't realize I've done it before, and yeah, felt great after, but I didn't realize that it was created by NASA, and just like the connection
Yep,
to astronauts, and what they go through when they, because a lot of them have health problems like when they come back, right?
yep, yep. They do. They do.
Fascinating. So, if somebody wanted to try this, yeah, tell us a little bit about, if if you could consult with people about this, or how they could have access to these, this kind of therapy.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So we're blessed here in Tilsonburg because Horizon Natural
Yeah.
Health Center has a system there, and you can, book in, and you can go and have a session, half-hour session. And lots of times, even though if you have it in your home, you'll use it more.
Yeah.
But people have had some significant results even after one half-hour session.
Mhm.
I know, Amy, you've had an experience yourself where you felt a little better after, and
Mhm.
probably slept better. That's one
Yeah.
of the first things people will say, is they sleep better after one session.
Yeah. And my husband, like with that, when he was having vertigo, and he still has it on and off, but that was something where he could really feel a difference after doing it.
Yeah, yeah. So we're lucky we have a place you can go to, and that is set up professionally. I like to teach about it. I
Mhm.
will I'll bring a system or a small pad down to whoever wants to have a look at it, you know, and we can do a mini session wherever you are. But I don't have a clinic set up where I have people coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I have a Facebook group too where I teach. I do share a lot of the science there. There's a lot of studied applications of this and anecdotes as well.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, I want to just plug in here too that it is registered with Health Canada and the US FDA as a Class 2 medical device. So
Okay.
it does have, and it has been licensed in the past for mending fractures, actually. Yeah, so people who have actual non-unionized fractures can
Mm-hmm.
use that and heal a lot faster than traditional cast.
Yeah.
It's used in sports medicine quite significant because if you use the system before an athletic event, it gets your body into optimal function.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the event, it will help to calm your body down and heal it post event as well, very, very nicely.
Yes.
And it's been used for treating depression and anxiety. What's another? But it is also licensed for improving circulation and reducing pain.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear about everything that's going on around us today, you can see why it would be a great thing to have.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking like everyone, you know, we're all around technology and Wi-Fi. I don't think there's anyone who wouldn't benefit probably from using this and having access to that. So can people purchase them from you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep, you can.
So
Actually, October is the best time of the year for buying a system. You get the maximum, you know, everything that we can throw at you with PEMF therapy for the price of the basic system. So I
mhm,
think it is expensive,
mhm.
but it's $4,600 right now this month plus HST for a magnificent system that you can put your pets on. Your pets love it. Plants love it. You put a
I bet.
pitcher of water on it, it will alkalinize your water, which alkaline water is very important to health and wellness.
Mhm.
Um, and then, you know, just everybody using it and loving it, and what it will save you instead of throwing all those pennies into the fountain of youth and creams and potions and things. That's fine on the external, but unless you're treating things from the internal at the cell level, you're never going to get the maximum results from whatever else you put in. And you know, and that was quite significant for me to understand that.
Yes, yeah, an investment, but in the end, you know, like you said, it's that maximum benefit and can treat just a whole host of um, conditions and things that we unfortunately just can't get away from. You know, there's so much that is within our control, but then there's lots of things that unfortunately we're just exposed to in our environment that this can really, I think, be such a great tool for people on their journey. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And like Brenda said, she loves to educate about this. So I think I'm in that Facebook group, but if not, I will make sure I get the link from you for that Facebook group so people can head over there and check that out. And then another great resource, like you said, Horizon Health in Tillsonburg. You can go experience it at least and try a session for yourself. If people want to get in touch with you, because we didn't even scratch into all the other things that you do, but you actually well, I knew Brenda before, but that's how I got the opportunity for the Rogers was through Brenda. And you've been that host of Oxford Empowered going on, is it 6 or 7 years now?
I've lost count, but I think we're in our 7th year now. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, so that's something also very informative, free for people to tune into and get lots of education around amazing things happening in our area. And then you also have a podcast.
I do. It's called Empowered Living with Brenda Pierce, and you can find it's Brenda's tracks if you go to Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, or whatever. So I will do the podcast, and it goes out that way, and then I edit a couple shows together and send it off to the Dream Vision 7 Media Network, radio network. So that's dreamvision7radio.com.
Okay.
And my show airs twice a week on Mondays at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. and then assorted times through that. But it's a much more formal show. And then there is an archive page there where you can listen to any of the previous episodes that I've produced. So that's a big one too. And Amy, I have to thank you very much for, you know, taking this on and doing Flourish and Flow. I mean, it's wonderful how you've been able to integrate the local practitioners into your show.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. And it's just cool how these little things, you know, like just chatting with you and getting to know you, and how that opportunity came, and then like just seeing all the things that you've done from your experience is very inspiring, and helps me see the vision of, you know, you start with one thing, you just never know where it will lead you going forward.
Yeah, you know, life is truly an adventure, and don't forget to dream, people. You know, dream and look for opportunities. And you know, we are so magnificent. We are so beyond what we think we are. And unless you start to try to experience the fullness of life, you know, it's been an incredible journey. You know, who knew from this young girl that would pass out in training that my nursing would lead me to all these integrative things. And now that I've retired from nursing, I'm certainly not retired, that's for sure.
No, and like you said, now you've got more time to devote to all these passion projects that you are working on. But I can only imagine what's yet to come, because you've got some amazing things going on. So if people want to get in touch with you, you did share your website. Is that the best place for them to connect and contact you, or is there any other way that they can reach out?
Yeah, if you're local and you want to give me a call me on my home phone, which is my office number, and you might get my voicemail, but I promise I'll get back to you. So it's 519-842-2799. BrendaPierce.com is my website, and there's join our newsletter. What I'm going to be doing is actually doing a draw from everybody who joins the newsletter each month with a beautiful package of products, and I'll be announcing those on my TV show and podcast as well. So and you might get a copy of my latest book too.
Ooh, I'm gonna head over and sign up for that newsletter right now.
Good.
Awesome. Thank you, Brenda. It was so nice to chat, and I know everyone will be really happy to hear all the info that they had access to today on this interview. And we're lucky, you know, Brenda's local, so reach out to her, connect, and I know she's happy to chat more about all of this, but also lead you in the right direction if you have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Amy.
Thanks, Brenda. I'm just going to stop recording, but we can stay on just to chat for a few minutes before we say goodbye. Bye, guys. Have a great afternoon, and take care.